And now, Death Valley Days. Howdy, folks. I'm the old ranger, and I have another interesting true story for you about the historic Death Valley country. There are 14 million Californians today, and they'd all tell you, those old enough to talk, that theirs is the greatest state in the Union. It has everything. Well, there's no doubt about it. Nature was generous to California. Gave it gold and silver, oil and borax, soil that could grow anything, waterways, timber. But don't forget, it took men to develop these resources. Men with imagination and courage and energy. Men like William T. Coleman, who more than any other 49er laid the first foundations of this great empire of youth. When the cry of gold went forth, William T. Coleman joined the rush. A 25-year-old Kentuckian who'd worked his way through college and saved enough money to get himself to California and back, if necessary. 5 months have elapsed since he started west. It is August 1849.
Hello.
Howdy.
This California?
This is California, brother. The land of gold. Here, take a look. $3,000 worth of dust that I panned only a few miles from here. Accept these nuggets as a souvenir.
Thanks. But, aren't you afraid to display your gold like this?
Men in these parts know better than to steal gold. If any of them try it, we string them up. You going to the diggings?
I don't know yet.
Well, when you get to San Francisco, you can't go no farther. That's the end of the trail. Good luck to you. Ha!
Place your bets, gentlemen. Might be your lucky night. All bets down. $25 red.
You know, you're the first lady croupier I've ever met.
You're the only man I've seen in all San Francisco who doesn't gamble.
I've got better uses for the money I make.
Oh? What do you propose to do?
A great city is springing up on these bare hills. People are moving in by the tens of thousands from all corners of the earth, needing everything imaginable for their new life here. And I'll supply it.
Merchant Prince.
Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I'm opening up a store right on the waterfront, where I can be the first one to board the incoming ships and buy up their cargoes.
And of course, there's a princess somewhere.
In Boston. Would you like to see her picture? Her name's Carrie Page.
She's very lovely. Her ancestors came over on the Mayflower.
How'd you guess? I hope by next Christmas, or anyway, the Christmas after that, I'll have enough money to go back and marry her.
To your good fortune.
A Merry Christmas to you. And a Happy New Year.
Your city of dreams. Smoking ruin.
Well, the bay is still here. The people are here.
There's still gold in the ground. Brannan's my name, Sam Brannan.
Glad to meet you. Any of you men carpenters?
Yes, I am.
I'll pay $50 a day.
Good.
Hello to your carpenter friends. Start building as soon as I can get a hold of the lumber.
Building what, a saloon?
A store. Headquarters of William T. Coleman and Company.
We have some here at $40, and some of the better quality at $60. Now, this is a very, very fine...
Hey, what's your hurry? Jansen! Sure, we're a state, the 31st star on the flag. But that don't mean we've got law and order. San Francisco's run by a bunch of crooks and nincompoops.
Oh, I'd hardly go that far.
Look, Bluxon, how many bad fires have there been since you started your business here?
Well, there was Christmas Eve, 49, May, 1850, and another in June.
And another in September.
Yes. Who started those fires? The gangs that are stalking our city. The hounds and the Sydney Ducks. And why? So they can loot and plunder. The police know it. The mayor knows it. If they had any sense, why they... Excuse me, ma'am.
I hope I'm not interrupting.
Not at all. Come in.
We'll be going along, Coleman, but something's got to be done.
Won't you sit down?
I came to ask your advice. I have some money here I'd like to invest.
You've done very well at roulette.
You disapprove.
I didn't mean to imply that.
You detest gambling.
For my own part.
Yet aren't you gambling when you buy real estate? Those tide lots along the bay?
I intend to fill that land. Build a big warehouse there.
You're betting on the future of San Francisco. A city where murders are committed every day.
Yes. But a gold rush is bound to attract some riffraff.
Riffraff? These gangs are human scum. Convicts from the prisons of Australia. I don't use the language of a lady, but I do know what's going on. It's up to men like you, Mr. Coleman, to save San Francisco.
They're locked up now in the basement of the courthouse.
Jansen identify them?
Positively. Jim Stewart, a Sydney Duck, one of the worst, and another criminal named Windred.
What's going to happen, a lynching?
I pray not. The crowd's demanding satisfaction.
They got their blood up at last.
Mob rule isn't the answer.
Then what is? Leave it to the local officials and these thugs will get off like all the others. Do you realize we've averaged 2 murders a day in San Francisco for the last year and not a single conviction?
We've had enough of that. Gary, we've had enough of that. Get a new mayor if you can't do the job, Gary. I did take that.
First, go home. As mayor of San Francisco, I pledge my word of honor.
We've had enough of your promises, Gary.
Justice will be done. To blazes with your promises. We want action, Gary. Leave the matter to the courts. We are the courts. We're the judge and the hangman.
Quiet! Quiet! We will not leave it to the courts. For we have lost all faith in the courts.
Right.
But neither do we want a mob. We can't have a mob. Now, I propose a just and reasonable course. Let the people here present form themselves into a court. Inside this building, let the prisoners be taken before it. And counsel allowed on both sides.
Let testimony be taken and judgment passed after a fair trial. If these men are found innocent, discharge them. But if guilty, let them be hanged as high as Haman, and that before sundown. All in favor?
Wonderful, isn't it? In any crisis, how a leader rises up.
I still say they should have convicted those two thugs and hung them on the spot.
Not if there was any doubt as to their identity, and there was.
Oh, that cove was Jim Stewart, all right.
He claimed to be Thomas Verdue.
Crowd was mighty disappointed. They'd like to have hung the jury, too.
Mr. Coleman knew how to handle them. Born to lead.
This vigilance committee of his is playing hob with our business. Taking our best customers to patrol the streets, attend meetings, hold trials. You see what I mean?
Justice is done. Good work, Mr. Coleman.
Well, gentlemen, it looks as though our mission had been accomplished.
You're suggesting the vigilantes disband?
San Francisco is now an orderly and peaceful city. Hasn't been a fire in nearly a year. Robberies and holdups are now the exception rather than the rule.
We hanged only 4 men, all told.
Well, I, for one, will be thankful to have some time to give to my own business.
Oh, before I leave.
Oh, you leaving San Francisco?
Yes, I have some personal business in the East, Boston. Here's a contribution towards the committee's expenses.
Thank you. Most generous. So you're going east. Couldn't be that you're contemplating matrimony.
It just could.
He has to travel 5,000 miles to find a bride.
And worth every mile of it. You'll agree when you see her. Mrs. William T. Coleman. Sounds wonderful to me.
I've been saying it to myself for nearly 4 years. Ever since you went to California. Now to think we'll be going out there together.
Oh, you'll love California, Carrie.
Is it true it has everything?
Do you there? Yes.
When do we sail?
As soon as I've attended to some matters in New York. I thought as head of the New York Grain Exchange, Mr. Dowes, you'd be interested in seeing some wheat. From California.
California? I didn't know they could grow wheat in California.
California, sir, can produce wheat in quantity.
But what'll they do with it?
Export it to England.
In competition with New York? Oh, that's impossible.
San Francisco's harbor, Mr. Dowds, is filled with ships delivering cargoes and sailing away empty. Now, I've checked on the freight rates of these vessels, and we can meet your price.
Young man, would you mind telling me your age?
28, sir.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, I've heard of William T. Coleman, but I expect you to be middle-aged, old.
You won't find old men in California, sir. They're most like myself. It's an empire of youth.
I'd be willing to try it, Will, but the doctor's put his foot down. He says I can't take the risk of the rugged California trip at this time.
Then my business will have to run itself, somehow.
No, that isn't right, Will.
But I can't be in 2 places at once.
Then go back to California.
Alone?
Oh, I'll join you. Just as soon as I'm strong enough.
But I couldn't bear the thought of leaving you.
Nothing can really part us now.
Very well.
You returned to San Francisco just in time to stop this crime wave, Mr. Coleman.
I know. I want to revive the vigilantes. Have me headed up.
You will, of course.
I don't see how I can take the time. I've been away. And besides, I expect to go back east again shortly to fetch my wife.
You want a city that will be fit for her to live in, don't you? That man Cora shot a U.S. Marshal in cold blood. Casey shot Mr. King in broad daylight on the street because he dared expose our corrupt officials in his evening bulletin.
Brave man, James King.
Are you going to let his assassin go scot-free? He's gloating now. Safe in jail, Jim Casey is, under the protection of the sheriff he helped to elect, for a bribe of $10,000. Cora's been in jail 6 months and nothing done about him.
Come in. Gentlemen?
We're not willing to take no for an answer, Coleman. Criminals like Cora and Casey have got to go. We need a leader, and you're the man.
I accept. I've come for you, Casey.
Try and take me.
Lay down that knife. Lay it down. All right, let's go. Our job of house cleaning is done. The Vigilance Committee is adjourned for the last time, we hope. I am now free to turn back to my own affairs. I sail within the week for New York, full of plans for our future in California, together.
The young man with the wheat. Of course I remember you. Well, how goes it?
I'm starting my own line of clipper ships.
To export wheat?
And other products. You'll soon be getting Pacific Coast salmon here in the East. I'm building some canneries. And dried fruits like prunes, raisins, apricots. That's what I'm most excited about. Oh, of course, there'll still be wool and gold and hides.
And financial panics like the one we're in now. Or didn't you know?
California credit is good, Mr. Dowse.
Well, if they're all like you out there in California, I believe it. An empire of youth.
My dear, may I present Mrs. Henry Clinton, an old friend and close neighbor.
Welcome to San Francisco, Mrs. Coleman.
You've lived here a long time, Mrs. Clinton?
Since 1849, but not on Nob Hill.
I can tell you a lot of wonderful things about this woman.
And I'll tell you something about your husband, Mrs. Coleman. He's been pursued by more admiring women than any gentleman in San Francisco. But not one of them has ever succeeded in making the slightest dent upon his heart.
Take a look at this, Robertson.
Cotton ball. Where did it come from?
Prospector. Nevada Desert. He says, I thought you might be interested.
Interested in a new borax discovery?
Better get down there as fast as you can. See the property. Try to make a deal with them.
Aaron Winters. Ash Meadows. Where the dickens is that?
Never heard of it. But he's heard of us.
It's good you came out here to Death Valley, Mr. Coleman. See this whole desert operation firsthand.
How's the manager working out?
Perry? Great. Oh, here he comes now. This is J.W.S. Perry, Mr. Coleman.
Glad to know you, Mr. Perry.
Thank you, sir.
They've been keeping you pretty busy, I see.
Yes, sir. We're able to dig and refine more borax than we can haul out of here.
Goes out by mule team.
Yes, sir. We've got 2 outfits working for us. That fellow with 4 spanner mules and Ed Stiles with his 6. Ed hauls twice as much with his 12 mules as the other teamster does with his 8. But it's still not enough. What would you think, Mr. Coleman, of stringing the 2 sets of mules together?
All 20 mules?
Well, why not? But what about the wagons? Can you increase their capacity to go with the big team?
I've given that a lot of thought, Mr. Coleman. Now, we'd have to design new wagons. Now, I've been figuring they'd be the biggest wagons in the world. 2 of them hitched together with a tank for water on the back for the mules.
Mm-hmm. Let's go into the office and take a look at these figures, Barry.
There she is. Longest freight outfit in the desert. In the world.
Congratulations, Mr. Perry.
Listen to what Senator George Hearst has to say. The life of William T. Coleman is the epitome of the progress of our coast. California is honored to present Coleman as candidate for President of the United States.
That's local pride, my dear.
But papers all over the United States are saying it. The great Charles Dana of the New York Sun thinks you're presidential timber.
But he never liked Cleveland, you know.
Here's what the Chicago Tribune says. No man stands higher than William T. Coleman in integrity, brains, and courage. His name is part of the history of the state. Will, it's a tremendous honor to be considered for the top position in the nation. No man deserves that honor more.
Would you like me to run?
That's not for me to say. If the nation wants you, I wouldn't hold you back.
But you don't want to leave California. And neither do I. I have no wish to be in the public eye.
But you are in the public eye. You can't help it.
I am not seeking public office, darling. I prefer to do my part as a private citizen here in California, the land that I have chosen. Are you content with my decision, Carrie?
Yes, Will. I'm a Californian now, too.
And that's the story of William T. Coleman, empire builder. A story that has been too seldom told. When he died, newspapers hailed him as unquestionably the most heroic figure in California history.